Listen to me. When a woman starts to see the signs, oh, you better believe she's being prepared for something bigger than she can imagine. See, a woman doesn't get chosen when she's desperate. She doesn't get chosen when she's chasing. She gets chosen when she starts to prioritize herself, when she looks in the mirror and loves the woman she's becoming. That's when the game changes. There's a peace that settles in her spirit. She's not out here trying to convince anybody to see her value. She knows it. She walks in it. She speaks it without saying a word. And you can't fake that. You can't buy that. That kind of energy is earned. It's built in silence, in private battles, in prayers nobody else hears. She stops entertaining what drains her. She stops settling for good enough because she knows she's not just good, she's great. She's a blessing walking. And when she heals from her past, when she lays down the baggage that was never hers to carry, oh man, she starts glowing, not just on the outside, but from her soul. From the inside out, she becomes more selective, not cold, not bitter, but wise. Everybody doesn't get access anymore. She's not impressed by empty promises. She's moved by action, by consistency, by realness. She's trusting timing now. She's trusting God now. She's not rushing. She's not settling. She's walking in faith even when she can't see the whole path. And something amazing happens when a woman moves like that. She becomes magnetic. She inspires just by breathing. She doesn't need attention. She doesn't need validation. She knows who she is, and she knows who she is. She's walking in her purpose. She's busy building, creating, leading, loving herself and the people around her with a heart full of grace. She's not just waiting for a man, she's being prepared for a man who's not intimidated by her strength, but inspired by it. A man who's not coming to complete her because she's already whole, but to complement her, to build with her, to pray with her, to fight beside her. If you're seeing these signs, hear me now. You're not being overlooked. You're being set apart. You're not being rejected. You're being redirected. You're not being delayed. You're being developed. Your time is coming. Keep walking. Keep glowing. Keep choosing yourself every single day, because the right one, the one that's been prepared for you, he'll recognize the woman you fought so hard to become, and he'll thank God he gets to call you his. There comes a moment when a woman wakes up and realizes she can no longer pour from an empty cup. She starts to understand that her peace, her health, her dreams are not negotiable. She stops apologizing for needing time, space, and boundaries. It's not selfishness, it's survival. It's self-respect. She no longer sees her worth through the lens of what she can give to others, but begins to recognize the value that is already inside her. Prioritizing herself means she's no longer saying yes out of guilt or fear. She's saying yes because it aligns with her spirit, because it nourishes her soul. She starts showing up for herself the way she used to show up for everyone else. Mornings become sacred, time alone becomes necessary, and rest is no longer viewed as a luxury but as fuel. She begins to invest in her own healing, her own education, her own growth. She sees her goals not as far-off dreams, but as promises she's making to herself. She's not waiting for someone to save her or notice her anymore. She's saving herself, validating herself. The relationships around her begin to shift. Some people fall away, not because she stopped loving them, but because she stopped losing herself for them. She chooses herself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's lonely. She honors her boundaries even when it costs her connections she thought she couldn't live without. She realizes that loving herself is not about being perfect. It's about being whole, being honest, being real. This shift isn't loud, it's quietest. It's in the way she smiles differently, the way she moves with intention, the way she no longer begs for a seat at tables that were never built for her. She becomes the table. She becomes the invitation. She becomes the prize, There's a shift that happens when a woman's spirit becomes peaceful. It's not that life gets easier or the storms stop coming, but she no longer allows every wave to knock her off balance. She learns to be still inside, even when the world around her is spinning. She understands that not every battle is hers to fight. Not every comment is hers to respond to. Not every situation needs her energy. Her spirit becomes a quiet sanctuary where anxiety, fear, and chaos are not allowed to live anymore. She no longer feeds drama with her attention or confusion with her presence. She starts choosing silence over arguments, prayer over panic, patience over pressure. She protects her peace like it's her greatest treasure because she knows now that it is. She recognizes the power in stepping away, in letting go, in allowing things to unfold without forcing them. She's not rushing through life anymore. She's breathing through it. She's noticing the beauty in the small moments, the lessons in the hard ones, the growth in the painful ones. Her spirit becomes unshakable because it's no longer tied to circumstances, but rooted in something deeper, something eternal. The people around her notice the difference. Her laugh is lighter, her presence feels like a balm. She's not easily provoked or thrown off course. She carries a calmness that speaks louder than words, a serenity that can be felt without her having to explain it. Her energy becomes a reflection of the work she has done inside herself, the tears she cried in private, the prayers she whispered in the dark. And because her spirit is peaceful, she attracts peace. She attracts love that feels safe, opportunities that feel aligned, and friendships that feel like home. Peace becomes her posture, her power, her way of life. When a woman knows her worth, everything about her changes. She no longer negotiates with people who try to discount her value. She no longer explains why she deserves respect, kindness, or love. She simply expects it and accepts nothing less. She understands that her value isn't determined by how others see her, treat her, or acknowledge her. It's built from within, rooted in the battle she's won, the tears she's dried, and the dreams she refuses to give up on. Her worth is not up for debate. It's not tied to her relationship status, her title, her appearance, or her income. It's in her existence, her spirit, her essence. She knows. She brings something to every room she enters, something that can't be measured in likes, followers, or empty compliments. She brings wisdom, heart, strength, and presence. She is aware that not everyone will recognize it, and that's fine, because she's no longer living for validation. She's not desperate to be chosen. She understands that she is the one who chooses. She chooses where her energy goes, who gets her time, who earns her trust, who deserves her loyalty. She stops making excuses for people who fail to see her. She stops lowering her standards just to feel needed or accepted. Instead, she stands firm, even if it means standing alone. She trusts that being alone with her peace is better than being surrounded by people who don't truly see her. She embodies a quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be heard or flaunt to be noticed. Her worth shines through her boundaries, her standards, her patience, and her power. And because she knows her worth, the world around her starts to treat her differently, not because it changed, but because she did. Healing from her past isn't a moment, it's a process. It's 1,000 small decisions she makes every day to let go of what tried to break her. It's the quiet courage to face memories she once ran from, and the strength to forgive not just others, but herself. She stops defining herself by the pain she's endured or the mistakes she's made. She realizes that her past is a chapter, not the whole story, and she has the power to turn the page whenever she chooses. She stops carrying old wounds into new spaces. She stops expecting new relationships to pay for the damage others caused. She reclaims the pieces of herself she thought were lost forever. Healing doesn't make her soft. It makes her strong. in ways the world can't see. It makes her careful with her energy, intentional with her love, and wise about where she plants her dreams. She stops hiding her scars because she understands now that they are proof she survived, proof that she kept going when everything inside her told her to give up. She stops waiting for an apology that may never come. She stops needing closure from the ones who left her bleeding. She becomes her own closure, her own peace, her own redemption. Through healing, she learns to trust herself again. She listens to her intuition, honors her feelings, and respects her own boundaries. She no longer minimizes her pain or rushes her recovery for anyone's comfort. She embraces every part of her journey, the messy, the beautiful, the unfinished. She carries hope where hurt used to live, and light where darkness once ruled. Healing doesn't mean she forgets what happened. It means she no longer lets it define who she is. She writes a new story, one built on freedom, strength, and grace. As she grows, she becomes more selective, not because she thinks she's better than anyone, but because she finally understands her energy is sacred. She realizes that not everyone deserves access to her heart, her mind, or her time. She stops allowing people to come and go as they please, treating her like an option. She sets boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-respect. She chooses carefully who gets to walk alongside her, who gets to know her dreams, who gets to share in her peace. She no longer entertains relationships built on convenience, inconsistency, or empty promises. She understands that it's better to walk alone in truth than to sit in crowded rooms full of pretense. She doesn't chase friendships, attention, or love. She knows that anything meant for her will not require her to lose herself to keep it. Being selective becomes a form of self-love. She no longer feels guilty for protecting her space, her energy, her joy. She knows that every yes to something unworthy is a no to something greater. She's not interested in proving her worth to anyone who can't already see it. She's not begging for loyalty, respect, or commitment. If someone can't bring realness, consistency, and love, she's content to keep moving. Her circle gets smaller but stronger. Her conversations get deeper. Her time gets more meaningful. She finds joy in quality over quantity, in authenticity over popularity. She values peace over attention, purpose over distraction. She understands that alignment matters more than attachment. She no longer clings out of fear. She chooses out of wisdom. Being selective is not about building walls. It's about creating a life where love, loyalty, and light are not just hoped for, they are expected and required. Her energy becomes magnetic, pulling in blessings, opportunities, and connections that match the new frequency she's operating on. People feel it before she even speaks. They see it in her eyes, in the way she walks into a room, in the way she protects her peace. Her glow is evidence of the battles she's fought and won in silence. It's the reward for every moment she chose healing over hate, growth over comfort, faith over fear. She no longer seeks attention because she understands her presence is the attention. She doesn't have to prove anything, she simply is. And that authenticity, that rawness, that truth, it shines. She glows because she knows who she is, where she's been, and where she's going. She glows because she has learned that her happiness is her responsibility, her healing is her power, and her journey is her own. She wears her glow like armor, like a crown, like a testament to her becoming. There's a calmness that settles over her when she begins to trust divine timing. She stops measuring her life against others, stops worrying about where she's supposed to be by now. She understands that what's meant for her will not miss her, no matter how long it takes. She releases the need to rush, to force, to manipulate outcomes. Instead, she breathes, she believes, and she builds. Trusting divine timing doesn't mean she's passive. It means she's active with faith. She does her part. She prepares her heart, but she lets go of the obsession with control. She knows that the seeds she plants today will bloom in their season, not a moment too early or too late. She finds peace in the waiting because she understands that delay is not denial. She sees the detours not as punishments, but as protection. The setbacks not as endings, but as redirections. She's no longer anxious about love, career, or success because she knows the author of her story is still writing. She trusts that the doors that close are just as important as the ones that open. She knows that alignment matters more than arrival, that timing matters more than rushing into the wrong thing too soon. When others around her seem to be moving faster, she doesn't panic. She blesses their journey and stays focused on hers. She leans into patience, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. She understands that everything real takes time, healing takes time, growth takes time, real love takes time. She knows that the right opportunities, the right people, the right moments are already making their way to her. She stands firm, rooted in faith, grounded in trust, radiating a confidence that only comes from knowing she doesn't have to chase what's already hers. There's something powerful about a woman who inspires without even trying. It's not in loud speeches or grand gestures. It's in the quiet, consistent way she lives her truth. She doesn't chase attention or admiration. She simply moves through life with authenticity, and that authenticity becomes a light for others. People watch how she carries herself, how she handles challenges, how she stays grounded in a world that often demands compromise. Her strength is not performative. It's rooted, real, and unmistakable. She lifts others not by demanding they follow her, but by showing them what's possible when you trust yourself. Her resilience speaks volumes. Her kindness leaves marks. Her determination reminds others of their own potential. She teaches by example that healing is possible, that starting over is brave, that joy can exist even after heartbreak. She doesn't need to wear her accomplishments like badges because her spirit carries the evidence of everything she's overcome. She's proof that you can be soft and strong, that you can walk away and still love, that you can lose and still rise higher than ever before. People gravitate toward her because she offers something rare: hope without judgment, encouragement without expectations. She doesn't inspire because she's perfect. She inspires because she's real. She owns her story, even the messy parts, even the painful chapters. Her life becomes a quiet revolution, showing others that growth is not about changing who you are, but becoming who you were meant to be all along. Her very existence gives others permission to dream bigger, to love harder, to believe deeper. She doesn't need to prove her worth. She walks in it. Without even trying, she becomes a living reminder that light always wins, that grace always matters, and that being true to yourself is the greatest gift you can ever offer the world. The ChatGPT said, "She walks in purpose like someone who understands the weight and beauty of her journey. Every step she takes is intentional, aligned with her soul's calling. She no longer drifts through life, waiting for things to happen to her. She's no longer lost in the noise or distracted by temporary things. She knows her purpose is bigger than any obstacle she might face, and she's willing to go the distance even when the path gets hard." There's a clarity in her eyes, a determination in her stride. Her purpose is not just a goal. It's the heartbeat of every decision she makes. She doesn't need validation from the world to know that what she's doing matters. Her work, her choices, her relationships, all are an extension of the bigger picture she's creating. She's not moved by temporary trends or fleeting successes. She's anchored in the truth of who she is and what she's been called to do. She understands that her purpose might not always look like what others expect, but it's hers, and she owns it with pride. Every day, she wakes up with intention, knowing that the small steps she takes today are leading her toward a future that only she can build. Her purpose brings her a sense of peace that others can't understand, because it's not about achieving for the sake of validation. It's about fulfillment. She moves with a quiet confidence, driven by the knowledge that she's exactly where she's supposed to be, doing what she's meant to do. She doesn't rush or force because she knows timing is everything. Her purpose guides her like a compass, and with each decision, she gets closer to living the life she was always meant to live. She's not sitting around waiting for life to hand her anything. She's actively being prepared, sharpening herself for what's coming. Every experience, every setback, every challenge is not something she sees as a roadblock, but as part of her training. She's in the midst of her own personal evolution, embracing the process, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it seems like the answer is not yet. She's learning, growing, and expanding with purpose, knowing that each day she's becoming the person she needs to be for the opportunities that are on the horizon. It's not passive waiting, it's active preparation. She knows that greatness requires sacrifice, that success isn't just about good timing, but about the person you've become while you are waiting for it to show up. She's building the strength, resilience, and wisdom that will carry her through the next chapter. She's not just focused on the dream, she's focused on becoming worthy of it. Her mindset shifts. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" she asks, "What is this preparing me for?" She's in constant motion, refining her skills, learning new things, expanding her heart and her capacity for greatness. The work she does on herself now is the foundation for everything she'll build in the future. She's not waiting for the perfect moment to act. She's making every moment perfect by preparing herself in it. She understands that there's a purpose behind every season, every delay, and every challenge. She is using this time wisely, investing in herself, and trusting that everything she's going through is creating the perfect alignment for what's meant to come. The universe is watching, and so is she. She's becoming more than just ready. She's becoming the best version of herself for what's about to unfold. So, to the woman who is walking this journey, understand this: you are not waiting for your moment, you are creating it. Each step you take, each decision you make, is a reflection of the power you hold inside you. When you prioritize yourself, trust the timing of your life, and stay true to your purpose, you transform into someone who not only inspires, but glows from within. You heal from the past, and as you become more selective in who and what you allow into your space, you build a life that is aligned with your highest potential. Your peace is no longer negotiable. Your worth is unquestionable. You are not just waiting for a change, you are preparing for one. Becoming the version of yourself who can handle all that is meant for you. The world may not always see your work, but trust, you are being prepared for greatness that is on its way. Keep moving, keep growing, and when the right time comes, you will find yourself chosen, not because you chased it, but because you became it. The best is already on its way, and you are ready.